things.
Right.
But look, we got to move on, ladies and gentlemen, because with these teams, they're all led by guys and they're led by coaches. And as we know, these coaches are becoming more and more mythical features led by the great Nick Saban. So we want to break down the top 5 coaches in kind of our opinion, but, a lot of it's pretty consistent with how America looks at them. Starting off with number 1, Nick Saban, 274, 67-1, and 17 titles. Dabo at 2 with 2 natties. Kirby Smart after his national title from a year ago. Lincoln Riley, 55-10, now at USC. And Brian Kelly, Mr. I was in Notre Dame, and now I'm a Southern-born boy.
Oh, my gosh.
This guy. Alex, are you what are you thinking about this? Are you pretty much okay with this list, or anybody lower or higher that you thought, or where you at?
Yeah, like I think for the most part, this is the top 5. I mean, you could throw Jimbo in there.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I hate to say it, Ryan Day's climbing his way up there.
Yep.
Harbaugh's not out that far outside. Luke Fickell isn't that far outside.
Yes.
With what he's done at Cincinnati. So I think there's a lot of coaches that are kind of pushing, but I think that's your 5 best coaches right now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And look, I'm with you as far as, that's the list. But like you said, Luke Fickell, you cannot take him off the list. My guy to North Carolina, Mac Brown. I mean, I know this is 17 years since, but 2005, that team with Texas that he beat,
special,
right? That
was
beat one
really
of the great USC teams of all time, with Vince Young and everything. So you got to show him love. He's brought North Carolina. There's such a resurgence. We've seen what Sam Howell did. 2 years ago? Top 4 of the guys that 1,000-yard receivers all get drafted, all contributing to teams in the last couple of years. So Mac Brown, I definitely think he needs that attention. But I also want to get in touch with what's this guy's name? Napier, Billy Napier, the guy that came from the Raging Cajun.
He's taking over Florida, right?
And now he's with Florida. Yeah, that's another squad. Now they have a rough opening schedule. I think they have like Kentucky, and they got like 3 of the first 4 games might be losses for them, and it's going to be interesting. But with them, you talked about Luke Fickell, Mike Leach. A lot of people, they jump on his interviews and they jump on things he says. But this guy, I mean, this right here is working for him.
Yeah.
He is playing, he's playing backgammon, and we're all sitting here doing double dutch. Like, he's on some other level. And that offense, that pass air raid offense, it shouldn't work, but it does. It works really well. Kate, we're going to come to you because I want you to tell me how you think about this list and where you feel that people stand.
I think it's fair. I'll be curious to see what Brian Kelly does at LSU after the season they had last year. When losing Joe Burrow, we know, was huge for LSU and huge for their program. Losing Jamar Chase was huge for their program. So we'll see what Brian Kelly can do with these young men with his nice, deep, thick Southern accent now.
God.
I just love my players down here. They're just so good. And we're going to be so good here at LSU.
I didn't know that could happen when you move south.
I didn't know that happened either. I just don't get it. But I agree. Nick Saban. I agree with Sweeney. Smart. We'll see about Riley. See what he does at USC.
Right.
I mean, he was doing good things and bringing Oklahoma back. So we'll see. But I do agree, like, Luke Fickell deserves some respect. Even Ryan Day deserves some respect because he's doing good things at Ohio State. And then, of course, I have love for my Harbaugh. We'll see. I mean, a lot of analysts still sing Mel Tucker's praises. So we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. James Franklin.
Franklin,
Well, look, staying in the Big Ten, and I appreciate you guys not being super homers, but what about y'all's coach? I mean, doing
Harbaugh?
what he did, producing top 3 pick, bringing the resurgence, finally beating the Ohio State. And look, in this house, again, Cat's not here right now, so I could speak this. Mr. Kaki is getting it done. He's reinstilling the blue, the big blue.
He's doing it with a very tight strap on NIL too, with recruiting. We don't have a big thing with NIL right now. Recently, not to get off coach topics, but Juwan Howard addressed it and said we need to open up this NIL game for us here.
Yeah.
To the president, new president, and he seems to want to try to talk about more about it. But our NIL game is not what the other schools are. So the fact that he's getting out there and getting the recruits he wants and bringing good players in and everything else, and players are wanting to come here, irregardless of NIL, is saying a lot about Jim Harbaugh, the coaching staff he has, because we have some new moving pieces at our school too, at OC and DC. So
yeah,
we'll see where we go. But I give Harbaugh a lot of props. Harbaugh is who Harbaugh is. He's quirky. He's nutty sometimes, but players want to come and play for him. So I give him a lot of mad respect for being true to who he is.
Yeah.
But still getting the players he's getting with the tight leash on NIL at Michigan.
Absolutely. And look, at the end of the day, these guys, especially the guys on the list, but also the upper covers, new ones, like this is the meat. This is the heart and soul. And before we talk about, you got Lincoln, obviously the last two with Lincoln Riley and Kelly, Brian Kelly, they both moved. Saban's been there. Kirby's been there, put in his time. You know what I mean? Dabo, we've seen what Clemson wasn't anything 10 years ago. You know what I mean? They weren't this powerhouse that they are right now. And then for the last 7 years, they've been, mimicking Alabama, if you will, going back-to-back CFPs and things of that nature. So these guys are studs. There's a lot of guys that are coming out the woodworks, and we will see, but they're sticking with their squad. For all the stories you hear about these guys transferring and going, and look, Lincoln Riley, like I said, Lincoln Riley and Kelly, but even Kelly, he had built up Notre Dame back to some sort of prominence,
definitely.
and then took the opportunity to go elsewhere. And I'm not mad at that. Lincoln Riley, he might have cut and run and taken some of his guys with him. But at the same time, this is a business still. And we got to remember that. This is still a.
Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.